Hello and welcome to the Clashing of Steel. And today I'm comparing armored and regular Legionnaires. As you can see, my current setup is 1 armored and 2 regular. Also I'm playing Commander Germanicus. And all of my units have consumables caltrops. So I'm setting them up right now. These are the regular Legionnaires and they actually aren't as strong as you might think. The biggest difference between the two is the movement speed. But what armored Legionnaires suffer in mobility, they try to make up with the heavy defense. I personally play them only with Germanicus, or at least try to play them with Germanicus. The main reason for that is the Testudo. I can block archers and javelins, which are my most strongest enemies. Right now you can see 2 of my regular Legionnaires fighting off armored Legionnaires. We're at the same tier, and my armored Legionnaires themselves are back there. In overall, my regular Legionnaires are gonna lose to the armored Legionnaires because we both are Germanicus, we both popped Vengeance. Only thing that is supporting me is the Scorched Earth. But everything that the armored Legionnaires make up with their defense, they lose in mobility. And because of that, they are excellent targets for ballistas and catapults. We can take an example where a catapult destroys half of the Germanicus forces, half of the armored Legionnaires, after what there just might be remnants left. And the opposing melee units can pick them off rather easily. Movement speed and armor aren't the only differences. Actually, the armored Legionnaires have a slightly higher damage than the regular Legionnaires. There are also many upgrades that support mobility for armored Legionnaires, but in overall it isn't significant. Because the armored Legionnaires will still be slow, they won't be as mobile as the regular. The reason why the armored Legionnaires work so well with Germanicus in this current state of the game is because of the players. Players just want to go in and engage and just pop their vengeance and fight till the end. The players usually don't want to give enough time for the ranged units to weaken the armored Legionnaires enough for them to finish them off. And because of these 2 reasons, the armored Legionnaires are rather good in this current state of the game, or in this current meta. If players would kite them with the ranged units, or defend the ranged units who are trying to kite them, or just advancing and disengaging constantly, they could not catch up, and the archers, or javelins, or catapults, or architecte could just destroy them. That way the armored Legionnaires would lose their edge that they currently have. If players play smart, they can bait out everything that he has. Even if he's playing Germanicus, you can bait out his Vengeance. They aren't strong because they're heavily armored. They are strong because players aren't patient, or perhaps even cooperative. But as I said in the beginning, I do play armored Legionnaires with Germanicus because his Testudo is what makes it somewhat work. If I play them with Scipio Africanus or Commander Salla, it would be a bit different. Archers could destroy me from afar and I couldn't catch up to any other melee units. Well, I guess with Commander Salla I could, but in overall I still don't see the use for it. With the regular Legionnaires, with Commander Salla I can catch up to archers, I can hold them at bay, I can hunt them down if I need to. Also, Fortify will increase my defense to overcome armored Legionnaires. Perhaps not when I'm going against Salla vs Salla, but perhaps against Germanicus or Scipio. But with the armored Legionnaires I still wouldn't be able to catch up with the archers, even if I used the whip. Although there are some moments I have played armored Legionnaires with Commander Salla. It's when I have at least 2 party members, one is a catapult and the other is archers usually. That way I can cover the catapult, I can deploy stakes or caltrops when I need to. Archers can keep the other ranged units at bay and weaken the opponents, and armored Legionnaires can hold back a lot of opponents. I once tried to play armored Legionnaires to defend my archers with Salla, but it ended badly. I didn't have enough mobility to maneuver myself around the archers to defend them from all sides, so the cavalry in the end cut through. So let's talk a bit about the regular Legionnaires as well. I personally see a lot of use for them because they're highly mobile when comparing to the armored Legionnaires. I'm not saying there's someone who should probably go head to head, but there's someone that should be able to flank or harass the enemy. Even when you're playing Germanicus versus Germanicus, you can actually go in, bait out the Vengeance, disengage because you are faster, and then re-engage and pop your own Vengeance. Often when I try to play Armored Legionnaires with my own team, I did a tactic with my friends, for example. I tried to take one side of the map, Let's say there was nobody coming from that side, and when we tried to make our way towards the middle or towards the other side, the armored legionnaires would stay so far behind from all other units. There were a few moments when I have actually failed to support my team with armored legionnaires. I had to relocate because there were no enemies on my side. A lot of my team died because of the overwhelming foes, and I was late in overall. I'm not saying it will happen to you, but if I could have been there a bit faster, it might have changed something. I'm not saying it's every game, but I have had some games where armored legionnaires really don't pay off. So my pick usually is the regular legionnaires, especially with Commander Sulla. With Germanicus, I do sometimes play armored legionnaires because of their heavy defense. For conclusion, the armored legionnaires are slow. I'm not sure how much slower they actually are. It seems to vary from around 15 to 30%. Sometimes even more if you're on a rough terrain like the forest. If your team cooperates or has a basic understanding of tactics, they can work rather well against them, making their heavy armor be their downfall. I would never suggest going into a struggle match to see who is powerful against the armored legionnaires, but if they are significantly weakened, you might have a rather good chance against them. Usually we see most opponents playing Germanicus with armored legionnaires, so if you play smart, we can bait out the vengeance and even go one-on-one against him. As I have said, or perhaps hinted throughout this whole video, I do not prefer armored legionnaires because of their slow mobility and heavy defense. If you play smart against them, you will see that they aren't anything special compared to the regulars. In many situations, the regular legionnaires can actually be more useful than the armored. In the end, it all comes down to how you play your units. Teamwork and tactics are the two main things. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and thanks for watching.